sponsors. And if you got coffee this morning, that's provided by Granny Schaefer's. And so if you go to Granny Schaefer's anytime soon, tell Mike thank you. We appreciate his generosity in giving us coffee every week. But all these other folks work with us, and SMB and the Missouri Technology Center, Joplin Public Library, MOCAN, and Joplin Chamber. So it's awesome. All right, well, you guys are in for a treat today. So Mrs. Tomlin is going to come and talk to us about her new venture. She just started. She's been in a CPA for a long time, but she just went out on her own. So she's going to come and talk to us. So, oh yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. I'll do this other part later.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you take that.
Okay, I do this.
Yeah. Are you on?
I think I am on.
All right.
Oh, let's see. New technology. There I am. Nope, I'm going the wrong way. Okay, welcome, and thank you for inviting me. A little history about me. I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science degree with emphasis on accounting from Missouri Southern State University. My first job out of college was with Baird, Kurtz & Dobson in Joplin, where I was in their small business development center, where I learned many things that the small business owner needed help with, from payroll taxes, compilations, payroll tax payments, payroll tax reports, sales tax reports, just about any kind of reports they needed done. I learned how to do them and how to help them. From time to time, I would be outsourced to other small clients that needed help with finding discrepancies or because maybe somebody was sick or something and they needed temporary help, so they would outsource me. I've even discovered some embezzlements and provided the proof for them from time to time. I earned my CPA while working at BK&D, and I have been licensed for over 20 years. So I've gone too fast. My second job was with Missouri Southern State University, where I was the internal auditor. I did compliance audits, operational audits, inventory audits, and from time to time I helped with the bookstore accounting when they had issues. I found they were losing a lot of money at one point because they were not uploading charges to students' accounts, or all the sales weren't flowing in like they should have. In the process of discovering this and solving the issue, I earned the nickname Sherlock Holmes. Don't know why, but anyway. From there, I went to work for an employer, professional employer organization, where I've worked for 18 years, where I've done a lot of many things. As you can see, it was for 18 years, besides the monthly accounting duties. I did assisted with the outside auditors in the AUPs, which is the agreed upon procedures that are done quarterly. I helped with the SOC audit. I helped with the annual audited financial statements. I helped the outside auditors, gathering the information they need and putting it all together for them. I also was the main contact with the Internal Revenue Service large group corp representative for any payroll tax issues that we would have. They would go through me and we would resolve whatever issues they are. From time to time, I would have clients that were coming on because they had some issues with payroll tax issues, and I would help them resolve tax issues with the IRS. Let's see. I also created cost accounting for clients, mostly imports. I've worked with QuickBooks, foundation software, which is mostly construction work. Sage 100, Sage 300, Acumatica software. These are very detailed, and I would create the software, the template for them to import. So they would have the ability to, like 4 or 5 clicks, import their information. I also process Canadian international payroll, so I am familiar with that one. And I also did the PEO licensing in states that we operated in. And then my new adventure begins. In March of this year, when my previous employer sold, I decided it was time to take a leap of faith and go out on my own. LJ Tomlin, CPA and Associates was formed. And with the help of family and friends, I am building very slowly. At this point, we have a handful of clients. I do accounting and bookkeeping basically for, I do the payroll processing for a couple clients, and I have several income tax clients that I am working with. Identifying the problem. Well, payroll isn't just simply writing a check to an employee. The payroll tax, federal and state laws and regulations have grown more and more complex over the years. Do you know how the IRS classifies the difference between an employee and a contract labor? A lot of them don't. Do you know when an employer is required to pay overtime? Do you know what documentation the employer is required to fill out when hiring an employee, and how long they need to retain those forms? Did you know the I-9 and W-4 has recently been updated in the last couple of years? And do you know what the proper withholding tax amount or withholding requirements might be for garnishments, or the hierarchy of garnishments? Tax liability date, pay date, due date is depending on the pay date and also by the liability amount. Once you reach 100,000, it's next day liability, regardless if you're monthly or bi-weekly, semi-weekly. If you reach 100,000, it's due the next day. Do you know what are the employer's SUTA and FUTA requirements? If you don't pay SUTA, there's a different requirement for FUTA. And companies in the 4 states region, like we are, really complicate the payroll tax and reporting requirements. If you have an employee that lives in one state that works in another, or one or more states, the requirements are complicated and very different depending on each circumstances. For example, Kansas and Missouri no longer have a reciprocity agreement. So if you work in one and live in another, there are certain requirements that are needed. Okay, competition and opportunity. It was kind of hard to, it's competition, but yet it is also an opportunity to me, so I kind of combined the two. Hope you don't mind. I can't say large payroll companies are my competition because they need larger payrolls to make a profit. I would say one type of competition would be a small accounting firm that only processes payroll as an add-on feature for their accounting business. but it can turn into an opportunity for me if they want to free up one of their workers to do other accounting business. I can help. Other type of competitor are the new startups, mom and pops, who think because of tight constraints that they can handle the payroll in-house. And it might be great for a little while, but things can change. So it might be an opportunity for me and my company to take over and help when things change due to illness or due to financial gains, or even if they run into a problem with a state or a federal agency. And finally, those taxpayers, excuse me, I'm going to drink, that process their own individual or business tax return using TurboTax or similar softwares that basically walk you through it by asking a series of questions. Consider a competitor, but they can also be an opportunity when they have outgrown the type of questions that TurboTax ask, or situation that they don't know how to handle. That can become an opportunity for me. So how can we help? Well, if you need an FEIN or help with the Secretary of State's forming a business, if you need help processing payroll or filing payroll tax report or tax liabilities, if you need cost allocation reports or help discovering accounting discrepancies, setting up even a general ledger sometimes, chart of accounts is a challenge for some. If you need compilations which are considered unaudited financial statements, and if you received a letter from the IRS or a state agency and need help understanding or resolving an issue, I can help. And if you need help filing your federal or state income tax, I am a paid preparer. And just give us a call or email us, and my contact information, I have left cards on the table over there, and that is my Gmail and my phone number. And how can you help me? Well, I am new, and I, for many years, have focused on the paperwork, not getting out and networking, something I need to do. I need help getting the word spread that I am available. I can help with many things and really would love to grow my business. Even financing alternatives. Right now it's how do you say this? Depleting my savings account. So, yeah. Do you have any questions for me?
Okay, well, first of all, good job. All right, who's got questions for Ms. Tomlin?
Do you have any business cards?
Yeah, there's some on the table. I should have put them in my pocket. I learned that one already.
Great presentation. You did great. Question I have, so are you working from home? If you're meeting with clients, are you, meeting at a coffee shop? How are you handling that?
I'm working from home, so the majority of my work is in my office at home, which was previous theater room. But I have met with a client like at Starbucks, but through Doug, he tells me the chamber has an office, so that basically would be available, and I love that idea because I really do not want, no offense, to have to trace somebody through my house. That's, so I love that idea. I'm gonna have to check that out farther.
Bill?
Yes, great presentation. You did great. I want to compliment you on starting your own business. As much as we talk about new businesses and they start and we all celebrate that, I've also had conversations with individuals in my career, not a lot, but a few, that when we get in a conversation, maybe they've retired from their job, and I remember one particular person saying, I always wanted to start my own business, but I was too afraid to do it. So I want to compliment you on busting through that fear, especially having such an amazing career up to this point, and taking a leap of faith that typically is reserved for the 20-somethings. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Separate of that, as you were talking about everything that you're doing, I would encourage you to follow Simon Sinek, and he has a video that I encourage you to watch. It's about defining your why, and think about what you would define the why for your clients. And your area of expertise is you could promote the whole forensic auditing.
Yeah.
That would be a way for you to sample anybody, even if they have their own CPA, you could offer the services of, hey, if you have an issue or you have a concern, I can come in and do a forensic audit separately. And that would get you through the door. They'd be able to sample your professionalism, how you operate, and that may help there. And then the Simon Sinek video runs about 18 minutes, and it's called How Great Leaders Inspire Action, and he'll walk you through what's called the Golden Circle. And
Awesome.
we'll talk later about the Joseph
Yeah.
Newman Innovation Center.
Thank you.
I have a question. So, you have a long background with a lot of variety of stuff, but within the scope of all the things you can do, what is your favorite, or do you really have a niche that you would like to pursue as far as what type of a client you would like to work with?
Type of client, any, honestly, as long as they're honest. I mean, honestly. let me clarify that one. My chocolate is taxes, income tax, state tax, even payroll tax, but I love income tax. When I was a student at Missouri Southern, I was in the accounting club and the tax, and I volunteered for VITA, and I loved it. And I was actually the best one in the class at the time. Sorry, knock on wood. But I found I loved income tax. And it has grown more and more complex, even on the individual level. Yeah, especially over the last couple of years with the credits that they offer, so, yeah.
Great presentation. What I was thinking of when you said you haven't spent your career doing networking, but you had on the screen a list of accomplishments which equal clients that you dealt with. And I know that was through your company, and maybe you don't want those biggies, but they might know small companies. So I would say reach out and just let them know that you've, hung your shingle out, and even though you're not trying to poach them, maybe they might have contacts that they can send your way. So that's what you know.
It's good. That's a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe even have them write recommendations on LinkedIn and refer, to you if they've worked with you before. One of my questions is, you said, how can we help? And you said, obviously, you want to network and share your information, but do you have a website or a Google My Business or a Facebook or something? So I encourage you to definitely look into doing that, and there are plenty of people in this room that can do that for you, that can help you. So if you don't, have the time, or you don't know Facebook, or you don't know Google My Business, there are plenty of people in this room that could point you in the right direction or help you with that, because word of mouth is everything, but that we also need, I know from a chamber perspective, being able something more to share, like a website or a page or something like that, than just a number. So just a suggestion.
Okay, I have no idea where to begin a webpage, so
Well, there
anybody.
are a lot of people. One's right behind me. It has nothing, I'm a marketer, but I'm good presentation. I'm not plugging myself here. I just have a question. I work with a lot of nonprofits as well. Do you do nonprofit?
Yes.
Okay. I just was curious, because some CPAs are like, we don't touch nonprofit, because that's it has its own set of, struggles, and so some are
Yes,
just
it
like, we
does.
just do, income-based businesses with nonprofit, so just ask.
Yes, I do.
You bet.
I think you did a great presentation as well, although I am not as, I kind of automatically tune out when it comes to taxes, because my wife I let her handle all that stuff because she's got a brain for it. But one of the things we've learned in having small businesses is that you can get into all kinds of weird situations really easily. And, it's complicated, and so I think, our hope is, of course, I think everybody in this area is aligned with, we want to see more startups and more small businesses, and I think that could also be a niche for you if you keep your ear to the ground for things that are coming up and available to people that are just coming online with small businesses with a few amount of employees that definitely don't know what they're getting into yet, and have that be approachable. And like I said, definitely look up some of the marketing companies here to get you, you want to have that, you got your at gmail.com there, that you want to get that to some cool domain, raise that professional, front out there a little bit. And I think that's what they're keying in on also, which, even if it's just a splash page, it'll go a long ways. But I really think you've got an opportunity here to interface with a lot of these smaller businesses that are just getting going, and get on the ground floor, and then you can grow with them. So, yeah.
I love that.
But yeah, I think that's it. Thanks.
And keep coming here too.
Yes.
Okay.
Because more people keep coming here to be noticed too. So that means new entrepreneurs and things like that.
I just wanted to ask if you have gone to the Small Business Administration over at Southern to get any help with exactly some of these things? 'Cause
No, I
they're-
haven't.
they are free, and there you go. Right there.
I'll be talking with you.
Hey, great presentation. I'm Whitney. I'm the wife. So, for a lot of small businesses and stuff, we're utilizing Venmo and Google Pay. What is your position on that?
Are you paying payrolls?
No, like
Pay wages
accepting
or
payments?
same, fine. Any way you can get a legitimate payment.
All right, there you go. Stay away from it. All right.
I don't recommend paying employees through it, but yeah.
Good to know.
I've got something else for you. First of all, you're the first human in my life that I've ever heard say, I love income tax. I didn't want that to leave the room, because I know I heard that.
Yes,
But
you
the other
did.
thing, when we're running a business or whatever it is, whatever the widget or service, we all know that facts tell, but stories sell. You have an incredible background and an incredible career. I would challenge you to sit down and journal about 3 or 4 powerful stories that you were part of in the past on how you specifically helped a client gain income back, save money, and you don't have to give them as identify them, but at least have them as stories so that when you're speaking with prospects, yes, this is what I do, but let me tell you how I helped a small business like you, and tell that story.
Okay.
So, I know this question, but anyway, so I work with a lot of different businesses, and I know that in this area, it's getting harder to find CPAs that do taxes, because several of them that I've talked to, they're not even taking new clients. So, the fact that you love doing taxes, you might have a nice little niche there that you can really take advantage of, because right now is the time to do that and start getting the word out to get people thinking, hey, I need to get her to do our taxes. So, anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Yes.
Anybody? Okay.
I don't know why we have that.
Because we're recording.
So So I work in the solar industry, so there's a lot of questions people have about taxes, obviously. So you're aware that the tax credit just went up to
Yes.
30%, right?
Correct.
You know what the scariest thing for a homeowner to do is to try to think of that situation. How is a 30% tax credit gonna help me out? Well, I don't know how to do taxes. They don't know how to do taxes. So one of the ways that you could, or I would say a niche, I know one way that you can help me out. Maybe
How
we
about
should
the
talk.
customer who needs that question answered? As well as, what if my roof needs replaced, you know, so.
I got you on that too. But I come across that question literally every day, probably about 16 times a day. So the way that I explain it to people is to make them feel comfortable, but if I had a little bit more insight onto how that works, and if you were able to help us, I mean, we could find something for you.
Sure can. I can get you the form and instructions, but you can hand them along with one of my business cards, that she can help you.
Exactly. That's a start.
Gosh, I love watching networks.
All right, anybody else? Okay, well, great, let's give her a round of applause.
We appreciate it.